everyone, I'm your dashing host with the bad hair day, Hage, and this is another episode of Rewind and Play. Now this has been a special week. First, Nintendo had a Direct, which actually was really good. In fact, had Nintendo showed this stuff at E3 this year, I don't think anyone would have complained at all. And just a few days ago, Sony announced that they'll be making a PlayStation Classic, which seems absolutely amazing. I love the confirmed games. I love the choice of the controller design, and I really hope that they'll include my favorite PS1 games, which are like Gran Turismo 2, Die Hard Trilogy, and Need for Speed High Stakes. Yeah, that's my all-time favorite Need for Speed game. However, I'm going to be unusually critical and negative today, because today I'm going to have a rant. And starting off with such two pieces of excellent news, how do I turn that into a negative, into a rant? Well, it's about what they didn't cover. You see, during the Nintendo Direct, Nintendo shared the last details on Nintendo Online. I'm not going to go into the cloud saving and whether the features are worth the money. Instead, I'm going to focus on how they announced NES games on the service. I mean, sure, thus far, Nintendo have only talked about NES games. So you couldn't really expect anything else, but I had hoped to see like SNES games and N64 games at least get announced to be released later on, but we didn't even get that. And I just feel that Nintendo have really not been focusing on the gamers who love, the 3D era as much as they should. To me, that doesn't make a lick of sense. I mean, are there many people out there who love the NES and the games for that system? The sales of the NES Classic shout at the top of their lungs that, yes, people love this stuff. Is the NES known as a multiplayer console? No, not really. Do NES games lend themselves well to online play? I don't think so. Not at all. I mean, honestly, I don't think I come across as biased when I say that N64 and GameCube games lend themselves much better to online play. I mean, imagine F-Zero X with 30 players online. That would sell this service without a shadow of a doubt. Or how about playing Super Smash Bros. Melee online? I know a lot of people have explicitly asked for Melee to be remade because, it's supposedly better for competitive online multiplayer. Multiplayer. And Turok Rage Wars, that was basically made to be played online. That makes a whole lot more sense than it originally did when it released, if anyone would decide to bring it out now. And then there's the lack of an N64 Classic. I mean, considering that the NES Classic came out in 2016 and then the SNES came out in 2017, I'm not the only person who was expecting Nintendo to announce an N64 Classic for release this year. And thus far, I've thought of different ways to justify it. Maybe there was a justifiable reason, like maybe the hardware to emulate N64 games would be prohibitively expensive. Maybe storing such large games would bump up the cost. Maybe releasing 3D games at that price point would just be a bit too generous. It would sort of cannibalize perhaps sales of current games. But the announcement of a PlayStation Classic pretty much debunks all of those points. There is really no justifiable reason, from my point of view, for Nintendo not bringing out the N64 Classic this year. I mean, if you compare the amount of things Nintendo do for their SNES and SNES fans, it's absolutely astonishing how much stuff they bring out. I mean, there's special reskinned versions of their portable consoles that look like those consoles. While for N64 fans and GameCube fans, they can't even be asked to bring out a freaking N64 classic. It's just silly, and I think that Nintendo's emphasis on those two retro consoles and this sort of 2D era is what really bit them in the ass when they came out with the Wii U. I mean, launching a console for $400 in, what was it, 2014, 2013, with a side-scrolling platformer and a minigame compilation? Well, of course your system isn't going to sell with that. I had really hoped that Nintendo had learned their lesson with the release of the Switch, because the games that they brought out during the first year were totally amazing, and still most of the games that are coming out for the Switch are on the right track, but they have a bit left to go to, satisfy the modern gamer, so to speak. That's my point of view, at least. And to be a bit more level-headed, there's always the possibility that N64 and GameCube games will be added to Nintendo online at a later point. In fact, supposedly some data miners have found evidence to suggest that there is an N64 emulator on the Switch. And in theory, it's not really too late for Nintendo to even this year release an N64 classic. And if not, you can always hope for next year. But, you know, I had hoped for a little bit more. So it's slightly sad, but we can always hope for better. Anyway, what are your opinions on this subject? Please let me know in the comment section below. Smack that subscribe button and share this video online. Until next time, ha en bra dag!